Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dice Tower Q&A. I'm Tom Vasel. Today is September 8th, 2025. We just got back from the Dice Tower retreat. Hopefully you enjoyed the different content we put up last week. We put up a few skits. We put up a lot of short reviews over the course of the week. Chris did his top 100 music of all time, and I did a couple topical videos. So, but I have, in the last few days, played 35 new games, some good, some mediocre, and a few bad. But we'll be talking about a lot of those. And in fact, I think the big thing coming this week will be this coming Sunday. We'll be doing a talk through. We finally played Blood on the Clock Tower. We're going to be reviewing it of sorts, right? Because one game's not a lot to review on, but we'll give you our thoughts and ratings on it despite that anyway. So that's coming up. If you have questions about the everything that's going on, let me know in the comments. Oh, I see several people have said happy birthday. Thank you. I'm a square today, 49. So still not 50 yet. That's next year. That'll be the big one. When Board Game Smorgasbord ended, you mentioned you instead do non-board game top 10s. Any plans for one of those? Well, like Chris just did his music, I will be doing video games at some point, and then we got other lists that we'll come up with as time goes by. So yeah, some more of that stuff will show up. What was the best haunted house you saw last night? So last night we went to Halloween Horror Nights, which started really well, and it was a great time. We were in the 8th house of 10. There's 10 haunted houses, and we walked out of the 8th house, and it was raining. So we walked, the lines to exit a haunted house can be pretty long. So we walked through the rain. A couple of people had ponchos, and several of us did not. But I was like, wow, the rain feels good, because it had been very hot. That's not too bad. And we were standing in a circle deciding what to do, and then it just poured. Like poured. And it was an odd pouring, because in Florida it often pours, but then it stops. So we waited for it to stop, and it did not. So we finally decided, since we were already soaking wet, we would just go to the next house. We went through. It was the least scared I've ever been of a house in my life, because I was just thinking how bedraggled I was. And after the 9th house, I was like, I can't do this. I got to go. So I left with a few people, and we walked. And to get from one of those houses to the car, it's all outside almost. So that was another 25 minutes in the rain. Fortunately, we did not get sick out of the deal. Immediately took care of it, dried off when we got back to the hotel and all. But still good time. Anyway, my favorite house was the Spanish. There was a Spanish mansion type house, and that was the one I liked the best. Oddly enough, I think my second favorite was the Terrifier, and I would not have guessed that, because I thought that would be the worst of all the houses. But there was some pretty funny things in it that made me laugh. Anyway, am I having lots of cake? I've had no cake yet today, but I have a cake. Miss Debbie, who makes all the key lime pies, and we have key lime pie at the retreat, made me a love cake, and I think my wife got me a cake too, so I'll find out when I get home from work. What was the game you kissed? I don't understand that one. I mean, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Visiting the country soon, are there any U.S. exclusive titles or components that you can recommend to somebody who lives outside the States? I really can't, unfortunately, because I don't know what's not outside America. I would have to be in your country to know what stuff is not there. So, unfortunately, I would just come and go to a game store and be like, well, I've never seen that before. That's how I would deal with it. Hi, Pippa. Hello. What famous person would you like to get a birthday card from if you had a choice? Well, I don't really care if famous people know it's my birthday. So I would guess, one of the rich ones, right? Elon Musk with a gift card inside, something like that. Did I see David as pumpkins? No, I did not. How does the Dice Tower track down review copies of more obscure games? I don't know that we necessarily track them down. They track us down more likely. It happens. I mean, Mike and Chris sometimes will hunt down some very odd games. I will occasionally. But for the most part, they hunt us down. Do you think superhero games have reached a point where there are enough of them, or would you still get excited if a new one came out? Well, that's a good question, and I can actually give you some statistical evidence on it. So, there's a lot of non-intellectual property superhero games, and I haven't done that yet. But we're going to be doing in the future some top 10 lists of different intellectual properties. And so, two of those are Marvel and DC. And so I made a list. I went to Board Game Geek and I made a list of every Marvel game that might possibly be on a top 10 list and every DC game that might be on a top 10 list. And I threw a very wide net. I put games on there that I was like, yeah, that's never going to make it, but just for completionist sake. And I have 22 from DC and 33 from Marvel. And that's not that many. That really isn't. I know everyone thinks that Marvel and DC are saturating, but it's not that much. So I think, I mean, to be fair, this is probably the same if I say, oh, there's so many of these games. Someone will be like, well, list them. And I'd be like, well, okay, I guess there's only 15. So we got to keep that in mind. I found one of your podcasts I want to listen to, but it seems to me no longer exists. Can this be found still? Dice Tower Showdown, dealing with analysis paralysis. You know, I think the Showdown videos, the Showdown audio stuff may be lost forever. I don't know that I kept that. I apologize. Do you think the side the board game needs a rebalancing for the factions? I don't play these games. I don't play any of these games enough to know or care. Does it need rebalancing? I have fun every time I play it. I never think someone's overpowered. Or if I do, it's probably because they're a better player than me. Using the eye test, what would you say the five most checked out games were at the retreat? Well, definitely 7 Wonders Dice and 12 Rivers were played a ton. The SETI was played an awful lot. So I saw those. There was just tons and tons of different games being played. Those would be 3 I saw a lot. And I'm not counting. There's a few games that people are like, I'm going to teach this game to everyone I know and play it with them. That doesn't count because that's just somewhat teaching that game to everyone I know. But there was a lot of good games being played around. I just concentrated. So I do different things all the time when I go to cons. And at this con, I just concentrated on playing games. So I walked around and talked to people. And I got a table near the door so I could talk to people as they came in. So I saw everyone who came, but I wasn't doing as much statistical analysis. I just wanted to play games. So now the question is, what was the first board game that you kissed and the last board game you kissed? I am really confused by these questions. Tom, do you remember playing the game Cuba with the El Presidente expansion? No. I played Cuba. I don't remember playing with the expansion. I did not like Cuba. So it seems like one of those games that people love. I don't think there's any of that at all. Yes, there's obviously people who liked it. A lot of people liked it, but not enough that it's like, oh no, we're missing it. Where can I watch Dice Tower Showdown podcast? The link seemed broken. I think Dice Tower Showdown, that podcast, which ended, I don't know, a decade ago. Yeah, I think it's all gone now. I'll have to look and see if I have the backup somewhere. I might, but I don't think so. Sorry. Tom, now that you're approaching 50, any thoughts about retirement? No. Did the pledge manager for survey for the Dice Tower Game Found ever open? Last update said it locks next week. I never saw it. Give me 1 second. I'll answer your question. want to ask a question on Q&A. By the end of the week, says Kenny. Do you know yet what the plans for the Dice Tower Cruise 2027 are? We'll announce those as we get closer, for sure. And no, Mike, you cannot talk about that game. Are there any Parker Brothers or Milton Bradley games that you think are still worth playing? Sure, and I think I've done a top 10 list on those, so you could probably hunt that down and find it. I don't know off the top of my head, but there's definitely some. Any thoughts on a new Dice Throne, Vanguard campaign? I don't know much about it, but I'm sure I like Dice Throne, so I'm sure it'll be fine. What's my favorite game to play with my family? Any game that makes everybody laugh. I don't know if I have a specific favorite. Do you have any quick tips for analysis paralysis? My wife and I play a lot of games at 2 players and often take three times the estimated time. That makes us feel like we couldn't join a game group. I don't know to tell you whether, if you have analysis paralysis, the main thing to think about is it just doesn't matter that much if you win. I always tell people it doesn't really, we're not betting money on this. So if you're slowing a game down, just do something. You'd be like, but it wasn't the best choice. That's okay. But if you are sitting there and you are taking 3, 4, 5 times as long as everybody else, you're actively ruining their enjoyment of the game. They don't get more enjoyment of the game when you win. Or if you play at top tier level, they get enjoyment just you playing the game. It's not a big deal. Just make a decision. I saw Vantage. Oh, yeah, Vantage. I'm sorry. Vantage would definitely be on the list of games that was played the most. Terrascape, maybe. But Vantage was definitely out there. No, Bloody End did not have a bit of resurgence. Someone just went around and taught everyone Bloody End. That doesn't mean it has a resurgence. I could take any game in the library and just go around and play with people all day long. Anywho, regarding the answer to what is the best board game, it seems like a non-answer, but would you say you focus more on breadth overall than depth in the board game community? I apologize. I really don't know what that question means. What is the best board game? I don't even know if I would say what is the best board game. I have no idea what the best board game is. I know what my favorite board games are, and I say the top 100 games of all time, but it's literally my top favorite games of all time. All top 10 lists are that way. I say these are the best. I shouldn't say that. I will say these are the best Star Wars games. These are the best whatever. But but it's always my opinion. But I don't know what you mean by focus on breadth more than depth. That's true. A lot of people were playing Lightspeed Arena, but yeah, again, that was kind of just one person. What makes you consider a game mass market? When it's sold in the big box stores. That's what I consider to be mass market. So if it's sold at Walmart, Target, Kohl's, whatever, the big Sears, whatever the big box stores are. A mass market game that people have. God, I would say Amazon, but Amazon sells everything, so they sell hobby games too. Have you read all the Mistborn series? I believe there's only 2 Mistborn series, right? So yes, and I liked both of them a lot, but I like the Wax and Wayne ones a little bit better, mostly because I like Wayne so much. Yeah, I know a lot of people say the El Presidente expansion for Cuba is really good. I just never got it because I didn't like Cuba. And I'm not going to go hunt down Cuba to play with the expansion. It's just not worth that much for me. If you had to give up most of your collection, how many games would you hold on to? What would be your magic number? Well, I have like 25 games. So I guess that's my number. And you say, wait a minute. You have the Dice Tower Library. Yeah, sure. The Dice Tower Library is 2,300 games about-ish. But if I had to get rid of that, then I wouldn't be Dice Tower Library anymore. So what I mean is, when I had my own personal collection, I kept 350 games. That was an arbitrary number that I came up with. Less than one game a year. Anytime I got a new game, I kicked the game out. That was just my rule. Game in, game out. But if I lived in a small house, it might be 50 games. I wouldn't, or maybe 30. But I don't have a number that I would go down to. It all depends on space. Is a review of Silver Frost coming? We do not have it, so no. What's the last movie you watched in theaters? Nobody 2. I don't watch many movies in theaters at all, actually, but I did watch that one. I see the constant discussion of too many hero zombie Cthulhu games continues, since the current hot theme seems to be plants, flowers, or anthropomorphic cuteness. Is there anything you think wouldn't work no matter what? Well, you can always find someone to play a theme of a game. I might make a game about harvesting people's organs and selling them. I don't think it would have a ton of people who liked it, but there'd be somebody out there who would enjoy it, so it might work for them. Any more spills on live streams? What? Are you rooting for them to happen? How many conventions or crews does it take for you to start recognizing people that attend? Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty bad at this, and I always feel very bad when people come and they're like, this is our 4th time. And I'm feeling really bad that I'm not recognizing them. And I try really hard. But you'll just have to forgive me on this. I run into thousands of people. There are some people I know very well now. And the smaller the convention, and the more interaction I have with you, the easier it is to remember you. Favorite thing to do on your birthday? I don't know. I just got a video for my grandkids. That's been my favorite thing so far. By far. My kids call me. That's nice. I'll go out to eat. I haven't decided where yet. So. Bloody End just got reprinted by Asmodee. Well, that makes more sense. What's the smallest thing someone could do at a table that would cause you to not want to play with that person again, not counting analysis browse? Well, there's lots of things. I wouldn't want to play with someone who cheats. I wouldn't want to play with someone who's a sore loser / sore winner. I don't include joking there. And here's the thing: if you win a game, I think it's okay to be triumphant in your win, but there's a way to do it without being a jerk. People who play randomly, they're like, I'm not trying to win, I'm just going to just cause chaos. I'm like, well, you're ruining the game for everybody else. People who are on their phone all the time. There's lots of things that it wouldn't make me want to play with someone again. The breath death made me think of this. Would you rather never play a board game again or never be able to teach one? Oh my goodness, these questions of the what ifs. But honestly, I would never want to play one again. I'd rather still teach them. I love watching other people play games. Is there an expansion ever saved a bad, mediocre board game for you? Maybe, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. But I'm sure there's something. Let me rephrase. What makes you consider a game to be a mass market style or eligible game? Gut feeling? I don't have like a set of criteria for it, but I know what they are. And I'll play a game like, this is a mass market game. I don't know how to explain it. I just know. It's the kind of game that somebody could go to the store who doesn't know anything about the hobby, buy it, and play it, and they would be okay. Would you say Feast for Odin plays well with 2 players the same way Cavern and Le Havre do? I do think that. Did you see the new Fantastic Four movie? Well, I think it's slightly more than new at this point, but yes, I did, and I very much enjoyed it. I really like it. I can't wait till it comes out on Disney so I can show it to my family. Bruce says, one day Tom will remember I've been to a retreat. Bruce who? That's what Mike just said too. Rich says, me and my wife are on every cruiser, and honestly, we don't recognize most of the other every cruisers, and I think there's only 38 of us left. Yeah, that's very possible, right? It just, well, the cruise is harder because you're just scattered throughout that ship and stuff, and you run into each other at different things. Did I like Nobody 2? I very much enjoyed it. It was the same as the first one, basically, and I liked the first one. When will the Pledge Manager open for Dice Tower 2025 Game Found project? Hopefully by the end of this week is what I was just told. What's your take on the board game Niagara? I think it's a very overhyped game when it came out, unfortunately. I mean, not overhyped, but like pushed. It won the Spiel des Jahres. It looks cool. Tokens moving off and falling off the edge of the thing, and it's just not that exciting. I find it to be a very big dud, in my opinion. It's one of the worst Spiel des Jahres winners, probably. Blood Rage Valhalla thoughts. We'll talk about that this week in crowd surfing for sure. Next top 10 for an unrelated top 10 Marvel movies. We're not going to do that. We're actually going to rate all superhero movies, which is tricky. I'm having to put some caveats on it. I made a list. How many do I have on my list? I have 129 on my list. But I took off stupid hero movies. I took off animated stuff. Just had to make some calls there. And it had to be released in a theater. I think most of these were released in theater. We didn't include miniseries like the Marvel stuff. You know, and it just, because there's so much, it just was getting out of hand. So we're just going to rank the movies. We'll do that at some point in the future. Would you prefer to play Arcs or Eclipse Second Dawn? I have no idea. I don't know. I like them both about the same. Clinton says, happy birthday. It's my birthday too. Well, happy birthday, Clinton. Christopher says, lucky I will never get on a cruise. Luckily, because I get seasick just walking on a pier. That's not true. But you might want to check, though. They have like different sickness. They have like different Dramamine and things that work pretty well these days for people. What does the rest of the convention season look like for the Dice Tower? If you mean this year, we are going to World Series of Board Gaming in a week and a half. And then we will be at Essen. And that is the closure of our season for the year. At this moment, things might change, but that's probably where we're at. Am I missing something? Yeah, I don't think I am. All right. Do you have an office where you keep all your games? Oh, no, you got this already exists. Go look up a tour of the Dice Tower Studios. The new studios. Look up. We did that earlier. You can see where everything is in our studio. Is someone planning to review Emberheart? I'm not sure. Give me 1 second. Yes, we have not got Emberheart, so I don't plan to review anything we don't have at this point in time because we have so many games that we need to review. Can't leave out the Captain America with the rubber ears. We will, though. We will. What would you recommend to my parents who love playing Can't Stop but are turned off by silly themes? Oh, there's so many serious games, though. I mean, have you tried Ticket to Ride? That's kind of a serious theme. I think they'd like that. Was the second edition of Tyrants of the Underdark by Gale Force 9 a failure in terms of sales? I have no idea. I don't even know. Was it different than the first one? I don't know a lot about it, actually. Isn't it hard to come up with ideas for top 10 lists? Not particularly. I have a whole slew of them, and there's always ideas that I have for new ones, but I also like going back and redoing the old ones. So even if in, let's say, 2 or 3 years I run out of ideas for top 10 lists, we could just go back and repeat them again over, the next 15 years and just do cycles, and it would be fine. Because new games come out. What song tends to get stuck in your head the most? All sorts of songs get stuck in my head. But it just depends what I'm doing. Sometimes it's just a random song, but sometimes it has something to do with what I just saw or heard. Like tomorrow, I need to go get my replacement windshield because my wife was driving and a rock hit the windshield. It's a small little thing. It's not a big deal, but we get it replaced. Insurance, huzzah. And so SafeLight's doing it. So I had the SafeLight replace, SafeLight repairs. That ditty just keeps going through my head because I was thinking about that. And that's how life works for most people. So my birthday was 9/8/76. So ranking, and can you believe I was born at 11/10? I don't know when I was born, actually. That'd be pretty cool, though. 69 months of membership. Thank you, Connie. Are you all done with setting up the studios? There's still more work going on. We still have some more work going on in this studio itself. We're going to be raising the lights to the ceilings, and we'll be raising lights in another thing. We're working on adding another camera or two in the big live play studio. This is more minor stuff as time goes by. We just tore out all the weeds and bushes in the front and planted little flower bushes in there, so that was nice. So there's always little work to do for sure. I love letters from Whitechapel, but the theme is a bit too dark for some. Recommendation for a less dark game that scratches the same itch. So are you being very specific and you want to find somebody, one person hides and everyone else looks for them? Or does logic games in general? Archaeologic is a great logic game. But if you're finding someone, there's obviously the classic Scotland Yard. But there's, I don't know, I think games, and there's also, there's a few of these games out there. Not as many as you might think, actually. What would you say, says Frank, to guys like me who thought you and Sam were wasting time playing games all night in the day room? Well, first of all, you were wasting time too. Well, I mean, we were wasting time, but we were college students. I mean, a lot of people waste time. Some were doing video games and other things. So I'm not ever going to encourage my kids to think wasting time is good. Playing games did not make me where I'm at now. Working hard did. Not the actual just playing games all the time. It's the actual writing the reviews where I started and then going to do reviews. You have to make yourself do things. Like today, when I got to the studio, I was like, I really don't want to do the Q&A, because I was like, it's my birthday. I just want to go home and just relax. But I already agreed to do the Q&A. So that's the thing, right? I said I was going to do it. We do it, and we make sure that it's out there. Now, as soon as it's over, I'll go home and relax a bit. If Ark Nova was graffiti-themed and Space Base was cat-themed, which one are you keeping in your collection? Why are these questions? That makes no sense. I would keep both. You guys did a video gamers were like, is there an opposite video games good for board gamers? I actually did a list on that once. This was a while ago, so a lot of those games probably wouldn't be as, maybe they're not as relevant now, but I did a video game, a list on that. How many games have you played and are ready to review but haven't yet reviewed? Well, I can tell you that. This is only for me personally. Let me sort this sheet there. Okay, so that is 137. There's 137 games that I have played that I can review and have not reviewed yet. I will be reviewing several of them this week. So there's that. So keep that in mind. But yes, I'm working on it. I'm going to do a 40 games in so many minutes. There's a lot of that needs to be done. I'm very excited. I love talking about new games. It's really fun. And there's so many cool new ones to talk about. Have you guys tried out a place for all my books from Smirk and Dagger? We have not got that game, so no, not yet. You mentioned an earlier reviewer top 10 list. You want to play Too Many Bones again. Have you had the chance? I have 100% had the chance. I've not taken it. It's just hard to get back to these older games, that's all. I miss Roy Kennedy on the channel. His style of games align with mine pretty closely. It would be super fun to have him back for his top 100 games of all time. Again, Roy still lives in Miami. We now are in Fort Lauderdale. He's running a store, busy doing that. So if you're ever down in Cutler Bay in Florida, go by and see his anime/board game store. Any plans for Memoir 44 comparison between the original and the newest edition? Yes, I will probably show that off at some point. What are the best Jackbox games for mixed age? Didn't they just release a new Jackbox? I gotta play that with my kids. I might wait till Thanksgiving or sometime and we'll play that. For someone that has never played Overpower, how many Heroes cards would I need to track down to make the game worth buying? Well, it's tricky. So I'm assuming you're talking about Marvel Overpower, because the new Overpower set's out. You can just buy a couple starter decks and you're fine. The original Marvel Overpower, you can find that really easily. They printed a ton of it. And the problem is the game got better when they added, they gave every hero 3 stats, the strength, fighting, and energy. But then they added a 4th stat, intelligence, and that was in a new set, and they didn't print nearly as much as that, unfortunately. And that set's harder and more expensive to find. You can still play with the original set, and it still works fine, but it's tricky, right? Your best bet is to find someone who plays Overpower, and they'll teach you. Fun fact, here's the most common birthdays. Well, mine is not one of those. Yeah. Wouldn't it be great to get microphones above your head instead of those huge ones that cover most of your faces? I've never understood why people say that. So, this also covers your face. It's the same thing, it's just hanging from above. Also, I don't want to hang these from the ceiling. I'm okay with this. My face is not that worth seeing anyway. Would love to see someone from the Dice Tower at blankety blank con. Look, we'd love to go to lots of different cons, but we just don't have time to go to all the cons. We go to a lot of cons. We have 4 of our own conventions that we run. We also go to Essen and Gen Con. So that's 6 conventions a year straight up. And we go to World Series too. So that's 7 conventions every year that we go to. That's 7 weeks of a year. That's almost 1/7 of the year that we're at conventions. We plan for conventions. We run these conventions. We go to them. We do them. That is a lot for us to go to. You say, well, Tom, you have like 8 members of your team to send them all different cons. But then you would not see the person there. Then that person's not here. And we have a team that works together to get things done here. And have different people out all the time we could do it. We could go to conventions all the time, all over the place. But then we wouldn't be doing our job, which is doing videos. That's what we're doing. We're trying to get videos and things out for you all. I always am of the opinion that you want to see me at a con, then come to one of our cons. Dice Tower West, a board gaming convention in Las Vegas. Dice Tower East, a board gaming convention in Orlando, Florida. Dice Tower Cruise, a board game cruise going out of Miami. They're fantastic. All 3 of those you have a possibility to go to. You should consider coming to one of those if you want to see us. That's the possibility, right? So I know you're like, but you should come to me. Well, you can come to me too. That's the same thing. Anyhow. You think miniatures still add value to the experience, or have they become a mere cash grab nowadays? Yes. That's not a binary question. Have you played expansions for Raiders in the North Sea? Yes, you can always check. Don't forget, if you're wondering if I've reviewed a game, it's really easy. You can just search our website, dicetower.com, to see if we've reviewed it. And if it's not there, then we haven't. How many hats do you have on the wall? I don't know. It was like 45 maybe. Is that your entire collection? It's most of it. I keep 4 or 5 at home. And then at home, I also have a pile of baseball caps, like 20 of those or so. Oh, there's also like 3 or 4 hats here sitting on a shelf that are not as good as the ones on the wall. They're not good enough to make the wall. Between Inish, Kemet, and Cyclades, which has your favorite mechanism? Well, not Inish. I don't like Inish. And for Kemet and Cyclades, well, you're going to have to tune into my top 100 coming in January. Now, the other top 100, don't forget Chris and Camilla and Wendy and Joey are still doing theirs. That will continue tomorrow and the day and Thursday. So we have more of that coming. That's going to be coming to a crescendo soon to see what their favorite games are. Has your popularity rekindled any lost friendships from your childhood or school days because they came across one of your videos? Childhood? No. I've never met anyone, I think, from my childhood because of videos. Whether they were an adult when I was a kid or one of the kids in my neighborhood, I don't think that has ever happened. I've met people from college because of my videos and or kids that I taught in school and people who, I got to be careful because maybe I'm missing someone and forgetting something, but I think that's the extent of it. But no, my childhood friends, I have no idea what has happened to any of them. Unless I've trying to think if I've even run across any of them. One kid I knew from 3rd grade was a dean of a school. Then I met him. Of course, I met him 20 years ago. So that was, but because of the Dice Tower, I don't think so. I do know that my wife told me that my kids are no longer fazed when someone comes up to them and says, "Hey, is your dad Tom Vasel?" That's not a big deal to them to hear that at all. They just assume it might happen. My kids call me Grandpa currently. I didn't make up a weird name for them to call me. Grandpa's fine. I think grandfather would be what I want, just because my daughter's. I'm called Dad, Father, Daddy, Dad, by my children, my 7 children. They all are different than that, but 2 of them call me Father, so I think I like to be called Grandfather. I saw you enjoying Whirly Ball that Mac brought to the retreat. Did I end up buying it? I did indeed. Any chance we can get you to Ireland for a convention? There's always a chance I'll go to a country for a convention. I've been invited to several, and I can't always go. This year I was invited to the Philippines and to Mexico. And I went to Mexico and had a great time. And the Philippine convention I wasn't able to pull off because it had turned off during the same time we were moving. The year before that, last year I went to Thailand. The year before that, I went somewhere. I think, Brazil. So I try not to go to too many because, again, I only have so much time. But it's always possible. If you're curious, you can email me at tom@dicetower.com. Do you ever feel guilty playing bad games you intend to review with people? No. Or do you revel in sharing the trauma? Not really revel. I like the experience of discovering a new game. I always warn people. In fact, sometimes I'm pretty blunt. I'm like, this game looks like trash. You want to play? And I have no end of finding people to play games with. Because people, not everyone, but I found my people. People who want to play a game hoping that game is amazing. This is great. Because for every terrible game we find, Cretaceous Rails or something like that. And it's just fantastic. How far does your team plan schedule your recording sessions? Well, if it's like a paid playthrough, those get scheduled, pretty far in advance. But mostly it's week by week to some degree. We have a meeting each week. Excuse me. We have a meeting each week where we talk about the games we're going to play the following week. I heard you played the new hotness. I made you a mixtape. Will you be doing a review in the future? I will. This is a game, just so y'all know, that is designed by one of my employees, Mike Delisio, and one of his compatriots, Dan Hughes. They have a podcast together, so they designed this game together. So yeah, I'll review that at some point in the future. What's the oldest game in your library? Not release date, but the game you've had the longest in there. Well, I mean, there's probably... Oh, that is a good question. I don't know. King's Court is not in the library. I thought about putting it in the library, but I have such a fondness for it that... Because King's Court is a game I owned as a kid. And when my mother passed away, I claimed that I asked my dad if I could have it and took it. So that one would be the longest, but it's not actually in the library. What game have I had in the library the longest? I don't know, because so many games I'm like, I've had that game since 2000. I mean, it's not going to be much more before 2000, right? Because when I got out of college, I didn't keep most of the stuff I had then because I moved to Korea. So I didn't have any board games when I moved to Korea because we didn't take much with us to Korea. So I started collecting since then. And then a lot of the games I got at the beginning that are now part of the library may have been replaced. Like, for example, Puerto Rico I got in 2002 or something like that. But I know that's not in the library because I got a newer, better version of it. So I would not know what the oldest game I've had in the library. It's probably a tie between 30 games. That's a good question, though. Was there ever a Batman-themed game that was more focused on being a detective than combat? Yes, it's called Batman Detective from Portal Games. I did not particularly care for it, unfortunately, but it's basically Ignacio's detective game in the Batman universe. Are there any plans to ever bring back the old Dice Tower intro of the dice falling down Dice Tower? I love that. But I haven't heard from the person who made that in years. And they made that for me. It's a wonderful thing, but I would need to recreate that and hire someone to do animation. And animation work is really, really expensive, unfortunately. I always did love that intro too, though. Who's the villain in marathons? I don't know what that means. No one. Do you ever come to Canadian cons? I think I've been to one. I was in one in, was it Halifax where I went? I think so. Are there any of the Dice Tower main crew like playing games like Mega Civ, Mega Empires, and War Room? I don't think so. I mean, I think any of us could be really... I mean, I would play one if I had unlimited time and was in the right spot. And I think Sam Healy would probably do the same thing if the right spot and the right time. Where do you find fun board game theme shirts or ties? I become a game host of my church. I feel like I need to dress the part. You can find them online. Etsy sells them. BGG sells them. We sell some too. Dice Tower. And you can just look for them online. I would just look for fun board game shirts. But you want to dress the part? Become a board game character. Become Mr. Monopoly. Have you played Marvel United recently? I'm about to, because we got the new DC one. Huzzah. Did you see the escape room experience in London on Quentin Smith's new channel? You bring a crew to run a spaceship and play out an experience like an episode of Star Trek with actors playing roles. I actually did watch that video, and that's interesting. I think that would be fun to do. I would imagine it's expensive, but that would be a fun experience. I would do it. If there was something like that around here, I would love to do that if they let me record it. Are there plans to do two types of con videos? One that's full of jokes and one that is more enjoyable. Hey, Tom, which restaurant are we going to go to? That one or the good one? I've been loving the skits you've been putting out. Well, those were skits that were recorded for our award show that we put up in Gen Con. They're the same skits, so it's not like we did extra work to do those. I would like to do more of them. They are a lot more work than you might think. But yes, I would like to do more. I agree with Z's take on Fate of the Fellowship, but what about your thoughts? I thought, meh, I'm not going to play it, so I haven't. How large is your gaming group outside of Dice Tower employees? I don't know, 20, 30 people. I'm not going to tell people. If you ask me if something on the schedule be reviewed, I probably won't tell you because we change things around on the schedule and stuff. So sometimes I'll tell you upcoming things and I'll tell you something for this week, but we have a very large possibility of games coming up on schedule, so I don't want to get too far. Any recommendations for a horror-themed board game for a 6-year-old that adults wouldn't hate? I don't know. I mean, I would look through the Europe stuff, but why would you want to play a horror-themed game with a 6-year-old? If it's like spooky, I mean, there's a spooky Ticket to Ride, but I don't know that adults would like it either. What is the game you were most excited to see released at Spiel Essen? I don't know the game's being released there yet. I'm sure we'll do a preview for that, obviously, before it comes up, so we'll talk about it then. And you know what? I know it's only 2:46 here, but I'm going to end the Q&A a little early today, and I apologize for that. But I'm kind of hankering to get out of here a little bit, so I got a few things to do here, and then I'm going to head home. But I do appreciate you all stopping in and joining me. We'll have some videos going up this week. We'll review the new Lightspeed Arena. We're going to, like I said, the top 100s. We have a live play. Women in Wrestling going up on Thursday, I believe. Of course, our shows, Crowd Surfing and the Board Game News will be going up. Next week, we'll be starting our we're going to be pausing our current role-playing game and starting a new short-form one. So hope that you will enjoy that as that gets closer. So thank you all for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic, wonderful day. I came, like I said, very excited to see what comes next on the Dice Tower. Lots of cool things. And until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. Catch y'all later. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.